So when you Western person see Who's, they see them something new, but it's acceptable. Why? Because the original, the melody in of Who is based on traditional Mongolian music, which been around 1,000 years. But the technique, the technology, whatever instruments, the beats, whatever it says, it's very Western. So it's a bridge actually between Oriental and Western culture. Well, as I said, Who opened the big gates and a door for Mongolian modern culture, which is now the whole global market, and people are now interested and they look back to Mongolia.
Well, the Who, we all know, and so many people around the globe are talking about the Who band. So what do you guys think the secret was? Because we have had a long time that we didn't have this kind of cultural exposure in the world. From Mr. Nahoy, what do you think the secret is?
Well, again, I would go back into history. Well, this potential in arts of Mongolia is really deep. I always like to compare it with the mineral deposits. Like mineral deposits, we have a lot of layers laying deep underground. And we are just discovering the very top, the very first layers. We are trying to open the first layer to understand what we are, who we are, where we come from, and etc. and etc. In addition, the arts and culture is renewable. While the minerals are, they someday they will finish. This, in that term, we probably need to rely more on this potential of our cultural heritage, especially. But definitely, as time will pass, more and more people will take seriously this potential, especially the government will take seriously. So far, as we all say, we have this financing from the state budget, which probably is only lefts of everything, the small lefts from other sectors. Well, the Who, many people even in Mongolia are surprised they are doing so well. Some are just simply jealous. Yeah. I think they exactly turned into our cultural heritage, into history, and they are trying to showcase some energy which existed back probably during this great Mongolian Empire, probably even earlier. So the theme they rely on is the Hun rock, the Hun's rock. Everybody knows about Huns, how they great were, and how strong they were. I think the main thing they showcase is this boost of energy, the extreme energy, which is very new to the stage. It can be compared to the hard rock energy back in 70s or something like that.
So this is mix and match of
yes,
so many things.
Yes. In addition, they have these researches in the images. You have noticed probably the costumes are great. The instruments design are different, and they are very new. But again, to my mind, the main thing is this energy.
Energy.
Yeah, I think I agree with Hoiga, because I read one review that they were saying that this is the testosterone boom. You know, they said that this is because this hormone is decreasing worldwide. You know, it's
testosterone.
Testosterone. Yes, testosterone is decreasing worldwide because of globalization, because of lifestyle, because it's the hormone that really makes it makes the man you know, the testosterone. So they were saying it's the first of all, because this energy is really the boom of this masculine energy on the stage. That's the first, number one. I think secondly also it's a very, it's unique. Unique because it's a combination of the traditional rock guitar and the Mongolian traditional instrument and a homi, and then with the very hard rock metal music melody. So because it's a tradition and modernity comes together and creates something very uniquely local but universally global. So that's I think the core of the success of the who is. But for us, you know, because for Mongolians, we heard this. It's same as when
it's not so unique for us.
Yeah, for us.
Mongolians,
Yeah,
yes.
for us because Ahtorag, the band,
Yeah,
it was
we had
many years ago. It was an equally successful story, and you know, so that's why it means that the things that granted to us, it could be not granted to everyone. So that's why it's getting, you know, interest of the people around. It's also right time to be with the right people.
It's also management, I think.
Yeah.
Exactly what Science was
Yeah.
saying, right?
Uh-huh.
Because the capacity is here, and who, especially domestically, it's nothing too new, right? But they just did a good work, background research, what to wear, what kind of, for instance, Western instruments to incorporate, how to market it into the Western world. And even the name itself is like, who is who, right? Right, so I think it's just also a very good management. And something similar is missing at the Science World.
Because they contracted very famous label in US. You know, the producer is American. So because this is the producers, the labels, and then the people, the festival organizers, programmers, this is the gatekeepers. They setting the mindset of the globally. So when they pick up, you know, it's there.
So
That's why it's matter of should be, you know, meet right people, right time.
Internet is one of the main factor of the success as well, because
Internet?
yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes, yeah. Because the first promotion goes through internet. So in early times, although we have a lot of talents on the same level, probably, we had no access to the outer world from the artist itself. So I think it's also a matter of luck.
To me, it is a very well-planned project, long term. I have seen interview of Mr. Dashtondo, who said that he was preparing it for more than 10 years.
more than 10 years.
Yes, it's a great market research, the need of modern rock world, and to see not only Mongolia, he see from the beginning world stage. That's what we need in every entrepreneur rendezvous in Mongolia. Today, world is our market. Everything what you do for Mongolia or for world, it takes the same 10 years. And this man visualized that, planned very meticulously, find the right partner, coming on the right time, finding the right channel. That means everybody can make this success in Mongolia. 10 years at least, you should have a vision.
But I mean, to me, it looks like we need international know-how, because the management is done by American company, so they know how to promote and to manage the company, to label it, as you say. But anyhow, let us show you one movie trailer, which Miss Aruna worked on the Mongolian production side, and this is called MNB World. And this movie has got over 300,000 viewers in Paris, France, only in 1 month, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Let's take a look at that trailer.
Sur la spiritualité à travers le monde. Il nous faudra des ambiances, genre religieux, musique locale.
Ça va te faire du bien ce voyage. On verra. Il dit que tu es triste. Tu as dû avoir un gros problème dans ta vie avant d'arriver ici. Les chamans peuvent communiquer avec les morts? Oui.
Наад хүн чинь удаган хүн бай.
Parce que j'ai des pouvoirs magiques. Tu dois maintenant apprendre à t'en servir.
Je sais pas ce que vous me racontez. Fait flipper ces bonnes femmes. Je viens de perdre mon mari, c'est déjà assez dur comme ça, non?
T'as pas le choix. C'est ton destin. Tu crois pas que tu devrais quand même aller consulter voir un médecin?
Écoutez, si à chaque fois que vous entendez du tambour, vous vous prenez pour un loup, il y a quand même un petit problème, vous croyez pas?
Et c'était Paul qui m'appelait. Peut-être qu'ils ont raison, les chamans. Peut-être que j'ai accès à un autre monde, pourquoi pas?
Tu repars pas en Mongolie pour faire avancer la science.
Ça dérange qui?
Moi, ça me dérange.
Tes pouvoirs grandissent. T'es en train de devenir complètement taré, tu te rends même pas compte.
J'essaie juste d'aller mieux, Louise. Qu'est-ce que j'ai à perdre? Pas un peu de ma gueule, votre grand-mère?
Well, all right, we watched the trailer. So I want to ask one question, start one question. What did you learn from working on this kind of film production?
It's not only my first international co-production. I worked in many international productions, including like State of Dogs and Babies, French production, and then later the film that we produced, also with the remote control, was also international co-production. And so it's our 5th or 6th international co-production. And a new tendency in the film industry is now more involved in women. Because usually the film industry is mainly man-driven industry, but this time, because our director, DOP, writer, second assistant director, entire crew, there was 30 French crew, only 3 men, 27 women, but the Mongolian production was opposite, 4 women, 26 men. So it's also it shows like the way the tendency goes in generally film industry, because they really because of this Weinstein Me Too movement in all over the world and including Europe, they are really trying to give floor for directors, women directors and women crew, women DOPs, etc. So that's the new thing, which was comparing the previous productions. And secondly, what was interesting is. Because I personally knew that Mongolia has lots of potential to tell story to the global viewers.
Untold stories.
Untold stories, yeah. And then it's again same with the WHO, like because there's so many shamanism, development happening in the last few years in Mongolia, and there is, even in Mongolia, we have adopts, like sometimes we don't believe it, do you have to believe in it or not? Mm-hmm. But very surprisingly, our director, the author, because it's a novel-based story, and they had no question. Because they have no question, because the beautiful part of that was, because humanity is seeking for the peace in the heart, I think. They're seeking who they are, and then, and they're seeking be reconnected with the nature, because the shamanism is greatly powered by nature. So all these things that are very granted for us, the things that taken for granted, for them it's a kind of lost connections. Mm-hmm. So the whole thing, the whole entire crew, director, everyone was, just for them they were saying it's not work, it's a spiritual, trip for them
so that's a space that we Mongolians can feel with our already have knowledge.
Of course,
that's
of
what
course,
you're saying.
yes. And then because we're going to now the government has submitted law on supporting film industry. I hope the parliament will accept that, and then if it accepts, there will be some film fund to support. And then in the film law, by taking the opportunity, my advocacy work, as volunteer, and then I think it's so important we allow international production to come and to make films about Mongolia. And because there is, after this will come back more. I think there's tendency will be going back, because after that already the 3 companies contacted me. The Russians want to make big historical movie about Tamerlan, and then the TV series by French production after, etc., etc. So I think it will come. It will come. So we have to be ready, and then we have to give them tax incentive, because internationally, you know, whatever people bring to the economy, because they were bringing to Mongolian economy, you know, about 300,000 euro. So all the things, and then we pay tax. We done such a, you know, in a transparent way. So one of suddenly the guru media that we don't pay tax, so our tax, we became, you know, one of the biggest taxpayers of the you know, the year. And so that it's showing, like, you know, such things can bring benefit back. And then if they will bring, and then if you can pay 10% back or 5% back, like tax rebate system, there will be more productions will be interested, because Mongolia is 300 days of sun. It's paradise for film shooting, especially outside. Yeah. I know Anna was an assistant to second assistant director for Hatak. He knows, he was working in the set, and it's really paradise. So it's we need to have, and then every time we get some cut because of tax, all tax holidays are kept back. Yeah, so
this
that's
is something that is being proposed in the new law as well. So we have even budgeted for it as well. And this actually just shows creative industry in Mongolia. There's how much potential that there is. For instance, the movie Avatar, when it was released in 2009 in the box office, it made about $1.9 billion US. That year, our budget revenue was less than that, about 1.67. So all we're saying is the whole country, we probably, our whole revenue that year is less than releasing of one movie. So how much potential that there is.
I want to ask from Mr. Tomorchuk about the national identity versus globalization. Do we? I mean, in the world, people are talking about globalization. Our younger generation are being globalized. They are all watching YouTube, and all the younger generation are becoming the same. And yet, at the same time, some people are trying to show that, identification, the national identity. So, what is your take on this? For Mongolia, from your perspective, what should we do?
Identity is something we make and remake and keep on making. So it's not something static. Yeah. It is something. It's a process. So the film, it is a process to make and remake Mongolian national identity. So I would say it's a great contribution. Both of all these artworks. It is making a great contribution to Mongolian national identity. Imagine shamanism. I know some of us do not believe in it. It doesn't matter. It stands as an important element to reproduce certain part of Mongolian national identity, and the whole as well. The whole. In the international world in academia, we use the word "syungno" for "hunno," but because of the word "the whole," now the world knows. Well, the "sungnu" is the Chinese version of the word of the name of the "hunno," but the Mongolian version is finally it's the "hunno." It's whole.
So we are remaking it.
This is making probably much larger, let's say, effect than our academics produced. Imagine, with the name of the band, now the world knows that, well, the Syungno is probably a Chinese version of this name in Chinese history, but the Ho and the Hunno is, as such, I would say art has great potentials. And as you said, as many of our colleagues said, we have this Mongolia or Mongolian specific or culture history specific elements, which is probably not interesting for us, but interesting in the rest of the world. The world is looking for something unusual, new stories. They are full of, let's say, Western or European, full of those things. Now they want to see something interesting.
Exotic one.
Can be said exotic or something new. And what that new things can tell to the world, to the rest of the world.
I want to ask from Mr. Jagat. So, having strong national identity, how will it help economically for us? How? I mean, not economically.
Okay. Before going to that
That's
point,
a difficult
this
question.
identification issue, identity.
Identity.
These two pieces of arts, a good example of reshaping our identity as Mongolians worldwide. Movie industry is prerequisite of proper tourism industry. So I guess, for example, as a result of this wonderful movie, people would come to Sugulavik more.
Absolutely.
And they should identify a particular place where that woman was sitting or crying. So there should be rocks or something that people come and feel. That will, the
family.
flow of the tourists. That's what's happening all around the world. After Hollywood shooting, New Zealand take it, Avatar, everywhere. That's the tourism. So we should be ready. Now I think our tourist companies should prepare from now what kind of products they can sell, what they can buy. That's the money, that's the promotion we want. That's why movie industry is so important for movie tourism industry. We are very shining, clear, big star on mining world today of investment, putting etc. So now we are to be star in another world like this movie industry, tourism. So that's what I see.
May I go back? I think it's very, very important. This is one of the very controversial issues I always face because when we do international co-production, because Mongolian side believe that World needs to see our Genghis Khan. And we say, the artists say, and then, but World is sometimes Genghis Khan is a great Khan, sometimes it's a conqueror, sometimes it's just a man, millennium man. It's a very, very diverse. He has a diverse, and so what global viewers want to see is contemporary story about contemporary Mongolia, and then they kind of bit tired of all this very nomadic, idealistic pictures of horse racing, this, and they want to see Ulaanbaatar. They want to see Ulaanbaatar with its contradictions, with these modernities, with these traditions, with the youth, the new culture, urban society, urban culture, how the society is, how this whole migration issue is affected, So they want to see the contemporary story. So I always sit on a different committee of film law, and then film law always said that Mongolian Film Fund has to support historical movie, children movie, and documentary. And I'm always stood up saying, no, please, of course history has to be there. Because I'm Mongolian, I understand, because we have to keep our history for the next generation. But it's so important, the contemporary dramas is important. So I see it as a platform,
We should also give a certain thanks to two other individuals, group of people who made also Mongolia popular this year. I was very impressed having this moon dance, young people being the third time the world champion, and changing the mind of Europeans that the dance is not only European piece, it is Asians, and these people can express. And that young lady and the group was fantastic. The other thing is these kids who are always winning the memory competitions. They are taking every medal as possible there, which shows these Mongolians are something. And even there is a website in China. Yesterday I saw a Chinese-speaking person told me that what is happening with these Mongolians, why they are taking, with whom we are neighbor, this kind of talk happening in China. So these are the young people, talented people who are creating new identity of Mongolia. We should praise more these people. Sometimes we forget with our problems, in particular we always criticize them, but here is a good chance to talk about it.
And this is quite interesting because 1/3 of our population is under the age of 18, right? Over 60% is under the age of 35. And the young people, they are much more visionary, they're dreamers. They don't really want to be accountants or lawyers, right? And they want to pursue, especially in the 21st century, looking at the world. When we had to choose our major, we were told, okay, you're good at math, you be an economist, right? So now, actually, they're looking at movies, they want to choose a major that they can be good at. and sometimes they
That
don't
even
even
does not exist now.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah.
It's a brand
So
new profession.
some of them, they realize that it's probably difficult to make a living, but yet they still want to pursue it. I was very surprised, for instance, on Fulbright scholarships. Before it all used to be like, IT and finance. Now people are going to US to study fictional writing. Fictional writing.
Wow, that's brave choice.
Yeah,
Look for my.
This is in an English language, right? So the young people are choosing majors that they can be much more creative, that they can compete probably on the world stage, and this just shows if their predecessors now, right? They have put the cornerstone there that the Mongolian minds are very creative, that they can sell to the world, and so has who. So the next generation, I think, with their language skills, with their international education, they can probably go out and compete in the world easily.
Actually, there is one movie, name is Memory Game, and the main character is Mongolian. She is the world champion of the memory game, Yenja. And so we also produced, with Germans together, they were coming and shooting. So I think it should be showing, it goes all over the festival showing, and then Mongolia is now also branded as, they're trying to understand what's
Smart
the brain, what maybe the, brain functions differently,
Yeah.
Mr. Rahul?
Yes, I fully agree that contemporary Mongolia is interesting too, because last night I saw Arirang channel, and there was a K-pop, a very young female star of K-pop, and she produced a clip, and the whole clip is around our central square in Mongolia.
Very cheap.
Very cheap. Very cheap. Generally speaking, I would, coming back to your question, identity and globalization. I think in a way we are discovering our identity. We are now starting to understand what we come from, where we come from, who we are. And globalization, nowadays it's a two-way stream. Not only us, but also the globe. They are discovering themselves. Everybody is discovering itself, yes. Because everything, as our colleague said, it's so changeable. Everything moves, everything changes. And in this very sometimes chaotic and very, very fast development, sometimes we need to stop.
Okay.
I just don't want to hurt the creative people from other genres, like classical music. I should mention one name, probably one of the greatest baritones in the world now, Arion Batten. He is presently working at Mariinsky Theater of St. Petersburg, in St. Petersburg. But his story is also amazing. Story of the ups and downs, and then afterwards
Amr Tufshin,
yes.
who is now, his life is booked for 4 years in advance. He travels in all over the Europe 4 years in advance. Amr Tufshin he based in Italy, and then his life is, and then Arion Batter based in St. Petersburg. His life is also booked for. Yeah, for Amr Tufshin, he said 4 years.
Ballerinas, right? Yeah.
And we have a very resourceful history, culture, and way of life. It's very resourceful. As one of you said, we should basically work on this resource, which is renewable.
Renewable resources. Okay. I see that we have lots of potential, especially in contemporary Mongolia. Let's not talk too much about our Genghis Khan. Let's start talking about contemporary Mongolia. And in contemporary Mongolia, in arts and cultural field, we have so much potential, like as we discussed.